Well, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to my hometown, Las Vegas. There are a few of us born and raised here. And it is fantastic to have all of our friends and family here, and that includes all of you. I am so excited to be joining the BCTGM, particularly today in the topic of the discussion, organizing, because I am a product of your organization. I would not be here if it weren't for all of the labor here in Nevada and across the country who worked so hard to get me to the United States Senate. The reason being all of the issues that we care about, all of the concerns for our families and for workers, and those issues are still under threat today. So let me be the first to say thank you. Thank you to all your support. Thank you to your help. I will always, always be a friend to labor. I think it is so incredibly important that now more than ever we are fighting for our families, for our values, and for our right to organize, and our right to negotiate, and our right to retire with dignity. So thank you for being here this morning. And I also want to extend a welcome to the leadership, to David and Steve and Shad and Jethro, Ron and Art, for inviting me here today. If you, and all of you, welcome. If you know anything about Las Vegas, you know that union workers are the backbone of our economy. People don't realize when they come here, actually Nevada's a right-to-work state, but you would never know that, because we have worked so hard to protect our families and workers' rights. I am very proud of my hometown because we are one of the world's top travel destinations, and none of that would be possible without the folks who work in our tourism industry and ensure that our restaurants, our hotels, and our casinos are the best in the world. I am proud to say that I was born here, raised here, but most importantly, I am the daughter of a union father. Growing up, my father was a Teamster, and very proud of it. Growing up, my sister and I were younger. He was a parking attendant at the Dunes Hotel and Casino. It's no longer here, but back then, that was one of the major hotels that you went to. And I remember talking to him as we got older, and I got involved in policy and in fighting for our families. I said, Dad, what was it about being a union member that you remember the most, and why did you do it? And he said, well, I'm looking at one reason right now. He said, the reason why I could afford the birth of you and your sister is because I was a union member, because we fought for our benefits, and we had good health care. And we stuck together for our wages and our salaries. And I remember growing up, and I know you were there, the picnics and the organizing and coming together in our community and supporting one another as brothers and sisters and friends. That was my growing up. And that's why I do what I do today. Because looking out at all of you, it is a part of who I am and our families, and why I fight every day, just like all of you do, for the families in your communities where you live as well. During the time that I was growing up, not only was my father a Teamster, he went on to become a county commissioner. He actually went on to become the president and CEO of the Convention and Visitors Authority. And you know the phrase, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? That was under his watch when he was the president. And to me, that is the epitome of the American dream. Fighting for your right to a good job, fighting to succeed, fighting for success. But the one thing my father never forgot was where he came from. And never forgot that as he got successful, others helped him to get there. And his goal and responsibility was to help others succeed as well. And that's why growing up in a family, I learned the values and the strong values and union values of being part of a union family, because we do fight for one another. No matter where we are, no matter what our stage in life is, that's what this is about. And that is my continued fight in the United States Senate. I said we are lucky to have strong unions here in Nevada, but I don't have to tell all of you, over the past few decades, labor rights have come under attack all across the country. We've seen it. I sit in Washington and watch it. We've seen state after state pass anti-union right-to-work laws, or as I like to call them, right-to-work for less laws. We've seen an assault on labor rights in our federal court system. And just this past June, of course, the Supreme Court case, the Janus case, was a devastating blow to the rights of our federal workers. And of course, we now have a White House and an administration that is rolling back worker protections, cutting taxes for corporations, and giving handouts to the friends on Wall Street. I sit on the banking committee. I see this happening every day. They're doing nothing for regular, hardworking Americans except trying to take away our health care coverage and make us pay more for it. Meanwhile, the president and Republican leaders in Congress continue to fail to address the multi-employer pension crisis, leaving our futures and our families' futures at risk. You know, and I say this all the time, unions built this country. They built a strong, solid middle class. We need action in Washington, D.C. to protect everything we fought for over the years. Part of that means protecting our financial system from fraud and abuse. After the financial crisis in 2008, Democrats passed the Wall Street Dodd-Frank Reform Act to rein in this abusive behavior. And if you were here in Nevada during that time when I was the Attorney General, it was devastating. It was devastating. You lost your home, you lost your job. Families had nowhere to turn. It was the worst thing that I had ever seen growing up in my state. But because we passed that Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform Act, we gave hope to others that we would never go through that crisis again. And it made sure that fraudulent, predatory bankers would never again cause millions of Americans to lose their savings, their jobs, and their homes. Unfortunately, what I have seen in Congress is Republicans already chipping away at that landmark legislation. Earlier this year, you know, they rolled it back, some of those critical protections. I am fighting to undo the damage the Republicans have done to make sure that we never see anything like that financial crisis again. But it's not enough. It's not enough to make sure we have tough cops on Wall Street. It's not enough to put rules in place to prevent the big banks from playing fast and loose with our savings. We have to support folks as well. We have to make sure workers have the right to join a strong union. We have to make sure that they have the right to earn that living wage and build a foundation for their kids. That's why I've sponsored the Workers' Freedom to Negotiate Act. We also need to continue to expand access to health care. We should be working in a bipartisan way to help health care affordable, make it affordable and accessible and not strip it away. That's why I'm fighting to improve the Affordable Care Act, fought to repeal the Cadillac tax, lower drug prices, and lower insurance premiums so every family can afford the health care that they need. And finally, I'm working to protect your right to secure your retirement with dignity. Too many hardworking Americans are being told that money that they've been saving up for decades will not be there for them when they retire. That's outrageous. Outrageous. I had the opportunity of growing up, like I said, in a hardworking family. I'm half Mexican, half Italian. That means I have a large family and good food on Sunday. But here's the other thing that I'm very proud of. That hardworking family came to this country for the right to succeed. My dad's father came from Chihuahua, Mexico, crossed the Rio Grande, served in our military, and became a United States citizen. And brought his young family from Las Cruces, New Mexico, to Las Vegas. And what you don't know is my grandfather was a baker. And he made the best sopapillas. And my grandmother is Mexican-American, born in Las Cruces, New Mexico, the oldest of 13, hardworking, worked in the fields as a young girl. When my father was 5, they brought him here to Las Vegas. She was a sales clerk her entire life. And her retirement was Social Security. And I will tell you, I remember sitting at the table with my grandmother, going through her bills, looking at the money that she made as part of her retirement, and figuring out how she managed to pay her medical bills, to pay her electric bills, to put food on the table, and still have a roof over her head. And that retirement, that Social Security, was her lifeline. And she worked her entire life as a sales clerk for that. And when my father grew up in North Las Vegas in a little trailer in North Las Vegas, saw where his family had worked so hard and why he was so supportive of unions and organizing and the collective leverage that we have to fight for our families was key to that retirement with dignity and that success. And that is something we can never forget. That's what this fight is about. And when you get out there and you organize, and you go back to your states, and believe me, I've been to your states. I just came from Ohio, all over there, talking about Sherrod Brown and what an incredible job he does on our behalf. And believe it or not, I went to a little town. I was all over Ohio, but one town I went to stood out because it's spelled Nevada. And they pronounce it Nevada. Now, they pronounce it wrong. I didn't want to correct them, though. I thought it would be rude. I was in their hometown. But I was there. And these are hardworking individuals. And they came out to visit with me, to talk about the issues they care about, what their struggles are. And this is the middle of red country. And I'm here to tell you our struggles are no different. I don't care where you're from. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care your political identity. If we get out and we talk to people about truly what they care about, which is putting food on the table, a good paying job, education for their kids, health care that they can afford and not go bankrupt or die because they can't afford it, those are the issues, those are the conversations we have across this country, and we are all the same. We are all the same. So if we organize, if we get out there and we talk to people about the values and the cares and the issues that concern us, we will resonate and we will make common bonds with our friends and our neighbors. And that's what organizing is about. Because we have to tell them, who truly is fighting for them. Who truly is going to Washington or in their state legislature or in their capital fighting for the issues that we all care about, protecting our families. Because it is unions, it is only unions, is the reason why we've even had a small bump in the wage growth. Our wages have been flat for the last 30 years. The only reason we've had a small increase in it is because union and organized labor have fought for those wages. And don't forget it. Don't forget it. And don't let anybody tell you differently. That's what this is about. This is about our truth. This is about our time. This is about our fight and getting out there and talking about who we are and what we stand for. And when we organize and when we bring people out and we get them to the polls, we win. That is our strength. That is our strength. So I am excited to be here with all of you this morning because I will be with you door to door. I will be with you in Washington. I'll be with you on the phone. I will be with you when you're planning your organizing meetings, when we are working hard in our communities to get out that vote. And our call to action is our connection and our talking points and our communication with our neighbors and friends and actually making the effort to talk with them and getting them to the polls. Let me tell you one final thing. In my race, which is crazy, there's only 3 million people here in the state of Nevada. 3 million people. I raised $20 million to reach 3 million people. But you know how much money was actually spent in that race in total to get people out, to knock on those doors, and to organize and phone bank? $94 million in this small state. But it had to be done. And it supported the coordinated campaign of every single volunteer who came into this state, whether you lived here or you were bussed in or you came in, and those were all organized laborers. They were here in this state, and they were coming in busloads to knock on doors. And we knocked on doors 9, 10, more times than you can imagine. And that was our effectiveness. It takes us time to get out and talk to people and knock on those doors, but when we do, we see the difference. I don't know about all of you, but I remember that election. I remember that election for this reason. Because of the organization and the strength of the organization here, and because of everything you've done, Nevada was a bright spot on that election night. We turned the state blue, literally, from the top of the race all the way down to our legislature, everything, everything. And those are the issues, those are the people that are going to fight for the values that we care about. But we can't do it without all of you. This is a team effort, and I'm here to support that team. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to my hometown. And now I'm asking you to get out and let's get them to the polls. Let's organize, let's work hard, let's make it happen. Thank you for everything that you do.